All right, we are green. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, and guys, flat out, we've got them. What I'm about to show you right now is something that we are grinding towards the continuation and the eventual victory of the suppressor removal from the NFA. And the victory that we had at the end of last week has the Dems saying the quiet part out loud. And we did some research, and wouldn't you know it, they've been saying it for 100 years right in our faces. This is one of those I need you guys to send out. Sharing your X profiles. You can tag me at Braden LOA, tag gun owners, tag NAGR, tag all of them. Because this is how we win this fight in the upcoming week. Because we're going to show you and expose exactly what these controlling tyrants have been doing to us since 1934 in congressional testimony. And now, 90 years later, also in congressional testimony, which you just heard a few days ago. This is a big one, people. We are taking the gloves off and exposing all of it and laying it to bear. Of course, make sure hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on because, guys, we can't do this without you, and you are single-handedly beating the censorship algorithm from YouTube, and thank you for that. So just make sure you guys are sending this out and hit that like button because this is a fight not only for this generation but for the next one. All right, guys, listen. This is the big one. We are audio, video, excellent. So this is the big secret. And you can follow me at Braden LOA, and please do, because I'll be putting this out there. I'll put all this content out there, and we're going to be diving even deeper into this. Infographics, creative elements. This is the big push this coming week, okay? But we actually just tied them, me and Katie, directly to the testimony that the Attorney General gave in 1934, which made suppressors behind the NFA, and then connected it with the actual testimony a couple days ago in the Rules Committee. You know how that thing about Democrats where they just like to really run their mouths? Yeah. Comes back to bite them every time. All right, let's get into this. At Braden LOA on X. Guys, I showed you this clip in one of my other videos, but this is really important. This is a current Democrat witness who is testifying in the Rules Committee in their whole dog and pony show, but she said something I don't think she was supposed to say. And then I'll take you back into yesteryear of 90 years ago, and you might find some very interesting correlations. Let's get to this individual right here.
It strikes the removal of the $200 tax on silencers. Right now, and this is since 1934, there has been a $200 tax on silencers, never adjusted for inflation. It's been solid since 1934, but I believe it's Mr. Clyde who wants to die on this hill. Well, others might die on this hill.
You know, the big irony in that is Andrew Clyde literally came to the House floor while they were voting for this and was like, yep, it was me, proud I did it, I'd do it again. Anyway.
He wants to remove the tax altogether. Baffling to me. And you know what the dollars are?
Suppressors.
It's $1.4 billion over 10 years. I did the math. That means something like 700,000 silencers are sold in this country a year. That baffles me. I don't know if that's accurate, but by the numbers and by the math, that's what we're talking about. In 1934, you know what $200 looked like? Adjusted for inflation? It's at least $4,600, $4,700, $4,800 would be the tax if we did that today. Why do you think they put such a steep tax on that silencer?
Tell me, pray tell.
1934. Take a look at the history. The history is the tax was used to try to discourage the purchasing of silencers.
What? No, sitting Democrat testimony witness from 2 or 3 days ago inside the Rules Committee. They wouldn't use a punitive tax to prohibit Second Amendment protected activities and items because the DOJ just put out a letter 2 days ago or a day ago that said they are protected by the Second Amendment, and then on the bad side of that, they came back and said, but taxing it's perfectly fine. So it's kind of like a mismatch, weird kind of thing. It just conflicted. We're dealing with it. But here's an individual in the Democratic Party who thinks that it's perfectly fine to just come out and say it quite out loud. The tax was there in place so people would discourage purchasing. That's called a chilling effect. That's unconstitutional. Courts hate that crap. It's the same reason they don't like fingerprinting that's paid for by the individual, the training and the mandated training that's paid for by the individual of these blue states where they're trying to basically price you out of your rights. You know, the party that says they're for the little guy, making everything more expensive so the little guy can't have his rights, but those rich people can. Yeah, that's them. Right there. Let me finish. Let me let her finish here, and then I'm going to show you into the time machine, of which I'm sure you'll be shocked and dismayed at what we have found.
Well, this is a committee. This is an amendment. This is an initiative that Mr. Thompson will correct in his amendment, which I'm sure you're all going to go for, that would reduce the revenue, take us down $1.4 billion over 10 years, don't know why, and probably encourage the sale of more. Sounds to me like it is just to appease the NRA and to encourage the industry.
Congratulations, your journey into moronicness or idiocy has concluded. All right, the argument that she wants to wrap up there is that if they deregulate them, people are going to buy them less. Okay. Now that we've proven that stupidity, let's get right into this, because I think that this is something you guys are going to find so fascinating. Remember, what we just told you in her Democrat testimony was that the tax was meant to discourage the ownership of protected items, right? She just said it. Okay. Well, let's dive way, way back into 1934. And, you know, this is actually data from the actual testimony in 1934 from the Attorney General. His name is Cummings. Yeah, listen to what he said. I'm going to read this little exchange because this is a congressperson interviewing this witness, Attorney General Cummings, on the NFA, the National Firearms Act. This is their argument for why they can do what they did to us in 1934. Yeah, it's 2025, I believe. All right, let's continue. Mr. Lewis. Now, a very brief statement on the subject. Lawyer though I am, I have never quite understood how the laws of various states have been reconciled with the provision in our Constitution to carry arms. Concealed weapon laws, of course, are familiar in carrying of weapons. Wait, where'd it go? I can't read. The right to carry arms, concealed weapon laws, of course, are familiar in the various states. There is a legal theory upon which we prohibit the carrying of weapons, the smaller weapons. Attorney General Cummings, this is the guy arguing to take your rights before you were even born. Of course, we deal purely with concealable weapons. Machine guns, however, are not of that class. Do you have any doubt as to the power of the government to deal with machine guns as they are transported in interstate commerce? It's starting to get juicy. Mr. Lewis, I hope the courts will find no doubt on a subject like this, General, but I was curious to know how we escaped that provision in the Constitution. We're talking about the Second Amendment. Okay, this is not some obscure provision in the Second Amendment. This is the actual Second Amendment they're talking about when they're trying to get the 1934 National Firearms Act. The Attorney General at the time said, "Oh, we do not attempt to escape it. We are dealing with another power, namely the power of taxation and regulation under the Interstate Commerce Clause. You see, if we made a statute absolutely forbidding any human being to have a machine gun, you might say there is some constitutional question involved. But when you say we will tax the machine gun, and when you say that the absence of a license showing payment of the tax has been made indicates that a crime has been perpetrated, you are easily within the law." Okay, here's the follow-up question. In other words, it does not amount to prohibition, but allows of regulation. Attorney General Cummings, that is the idea. We have studied it very carefully. Guys, they planned this out 90 some odd years ago. It is right there, clear as crystal in the congressional archives. We're going to be diving into this deep this week. Katie and I are already making infographics, creative elements. We're making images, all these things that you guys can send out, because this is a 100-year scheme to take away your rights by calling gun control a taxation. It's right here in black and white. It is all congressional record, and they just did it again. Guys, this is incredibly important if you have not followed through with where I'm going on this, because the Byrd rule in the Senate is where they're going to try to stop this. The suppressor rule, or the suppressor removal from the NFA already got passed in the House. The only hope that they have is the Byrd rule, and they're going to push hard on that one because it has to do with the power of the budget and removing something if it's not budgetary related. This right here backs up the case that it is 100% taxation and budget related, because they are trying to achieve a control of the population through taxation and through revenue. Interstate Commerce Clause. You cannot get around this. We're going to do this a lot more. This is incredibly important. Please send this one out because you have the chance to defeat a 90 some odd year scheme against yours and the future generation's rights by spreading this information out. Everything is sourced right down there in the description box. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this is helpful, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.